Welcome, New Orleans, or wherever you are listening to Baldy and The Blonde every Wednesday at 4. Today, Tom Coates is the co-host. He's a remote, and he has some new equipment, which we had a few glitches last week, but it's sounding a lot better than just him calling on the phone. So, how you doing over there, Tom? You hear me? Hello? Where's Tom? Tom? Hello? Well, Baldy's not here. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, okay. So, well, I guess I shouldn't have said that because it was pretty smooth sailing last week, which was the first week we used it. But anyway, we're talking today about the absolute failures of the Democrat Party all over the place. And they can't even do comedy anymore. So I know there's been like this big uproar from,
Give me 1 second.
Hold on.
Go from the phone if you can.
I don't know what's going on. We're having all kinds of technical difficulties. Maybe it's the rain. Anyway, there's been an uproar about Colbert and people saying that, he's only been fired because Trump did it or some nonsense about the buyout or something of CBS. How about that dude is so not funny. What a weenie. And when he had that dance, the dancing viruses, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. And so he's had the lowest ratings for years. They lose 40 million. I believe, I don't understand this math, but I heard it over and over again that his show cost $100 million a year. And $40 million a year is what they lose on it. So I don't know. To me, but anyway, and so he gets canceled. Well, then you hear nothing but whining crybabies about the cancellation of his show, and it's just because he's on the left. But I mean, he is absolutely not funny. So anyway, I thought I'm sure some of y'all have seen this, but most. I don't know, a lot of our audience is really young and they may not know. There's a guy named Johnny Carson who was the king of nighttime television. He was really funny and he's really worth looking up. And he was asked by 60 Minutes why he didn't talk about current events. And I think it's a very interesting clip. Here it is.
People say, you'll never take a serious controversy. Well, I have an answer to that. I said, now, tell me the last time that Jack Benny, Red Skelton, any comedian, used his show to do serious issues. That's not what I'm there for. Can't they see that? But why do they think that just because you have a Tonight Show that you must deal in serious issues? It's a danger. It's a real danger. Once you start that, you start to get that self-important feeling that what you say has great import. And strangely enough, you could use that show as a forum. You could sway people, and I don't think you should as an entertainer.
How about that? Wow, if that's not shocking in today's world, that you start to get, he's like, I could do that. But you start to get like a self-important feeling that, you are, you're the kind of a godlike character trying to influence people, and that's all Colbert does, and that's all Kimmel does. And they just are terrible. Obviously, nobody watches them, which is why their ratings are so terrible. So, Kobe, can you come live on the air for a minute and just talk you're there now?
Well, I'm here by phone. They couldn't. There's a problem with getting me connected through the way I connected last week. It looks good on my end, but Kobe wasn't able to connect me for some reason. So he put me through on the phone.
All right. Well, there you are. Anyway, I've been going over the fact that, Colbert is not funny. And I played the Johnny Carson clip, which I thought was great, because 60 Minutes was hounding him about, why don't you ever talk about anything serious? Meaning, what they want him to talk about, the news, the Democrats, why the Democrats are right, why the Republicans are wrong, and how that's so funny. And he's just like, hey, when was the last time you heard a good comedian do that? And really, you listen to, for example, Seinfeld, probably one of the funniest humans ever to live. He does not do political comedy. Right?
No, that's true. Well, then again, George Carlin, also one of the funniest, he did. So, I mean, you can do it, but he was more of a social commentator
yes.
than he was a comedian. But Johnny Carson's right. And you know what? I do remember, for the younger listeners, I remember when Johnny Carson was retiring. I think that was like, the early to mid-'80s, or I
think so.
Really remember.
I know Bette Midler was on his last show. I remember that.
And I remember that David Letterman and Leno, remember it was the competition on who was going to get the spot. And I remember Letterman said something that's always stuck with me. And he said it about himself and Leno and all of them. He said, Johnny Carson, when it comes to these late-night talk shows, he's the gold standard, and all the rest of us are pretenders. And he wasn't kidding. And this generation, talk about pretenders, these guys are nothing compared to the generation before them.
I mean, they're rude. Carson would listen to his guest, but he was very funny. He was funny, but without being a politician. And you're right that Carlin did comment. Obviously, the famous, it's a club and you ain't in it. George Carlin commentary is great, but he's observing and he's not pushing an agenda. You know what I mean? At least that's the way I see him.
That's what set Carson apart. He didn't have an agenda except to entertain.
Yes.
These guys call themselves entertainers, but they're really there to push an agenda. Like that ridiculous song and dance routine called The Vaccine.
Yeah, I was talking about that before we got you on the air. That's when you just knew Colbert had just completely lost it. It was a dance routine with people dressed up as viruses or shots or something stupid about COVID. In fact, I'm going to find that right now. That is just too obnoxious. I should have had that clip because it's great. But and
it's beyond cringe. When you watch that, you don't even cringe. It's like you just feel bad for everybody on Earth that somebody of our species could do that. It's pathetic.
It's true. It's one of those. It's the worst thing because don't you hate when you're embarrassed for someone? Oh. I hate that. So, and that's kind of what that was, right? Oh,
it didn't rise to the level of awful and embarrassing. It didn't. If you haven't seen it, just Google what's his name, Colbert vaccine, and I think he called it the Vax, like VAX, and then Scene, SCENE.
Let me see. I have it pulled up. It may be terrible, but let me just see.
Well, you have to
so let's find out the way the vaccine is
Here we go.
changing the scene.
Let's see
in our new recurring segment, the Vac Scene.
Oh. And it's dancing shots. Oh, no. This is terrible. That's this. Yeah. And then it goes on and on. Apparently, it was a recurring thing. The Vax, SCENE, the scene, man. The scene of the Vax. Oh, it is so bad. So bad.
Okay, well, before we go to break, I came across something that I wanted to talk about just for a second, and that's a good time because it only takes a second. Talking about embarrassing things, at least in my opinion, the WNBA in many ways is an embarrassment. It loses tons of money, like, I don't know, $50 million a year, and it only exists because it's supported by the NBA. But I've decided, I think I'm going to start buying tickets and going to games because in the last 2 days, 2 games have been stopped. One, because in mid-game, a player's wig came off and she had to scoop it off the floor and run off the court into the locker room.
Oh, come on.
That's hilarious.
No way. Her wig came off?
We'll get this. And then last night, even better, somebody, while the game was going on, somebody from the stands threw a neon green, 9-inch long sex toy onto the court and stopped play. So I zoomed in on the video to see if it's a brand I'm familiar with, but I didn't recognize it. I'm still going to go to games. For that reason alone, because when you see that in the span of 2 days, that's a good sport.
It's funnier than Colbert, that's for sure.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly.
That's pathetic. Oh, that's pathetic. Yeah, and I mean, just the whole thing about, what's her name, the girl who was, I don't know, the white girl that's from Ohio or something. And
Caitlin.
Yeah, her. And the girl from LSU, they got the little feud going, which is, It's so stupid, but yeah. I can't believe a wig fell off, and was that on the news or something? I didn't even see it.
I don't know if it's on the news, but you can easily find it. Just put in WNBA wig. From 2 days ago.
That's great.
And then,
That's great.
Oh, but you know,
wait. We have 30 seconds. I'm just letting you know. 30 seconds. So.
Well, the green sex toy story you can see on Citizen Free Press right now.
Oh my goodness! I'm going to go there during the break and
check that out during the break. And also during the break, we'll try to fix my little technical problem.
Yeah, we'll see if we can fix it. You sound okay, but I'm sure it's not going to sound as good. Like it sounds good in my headphones, but that doesn't mean the. Bear with us, folks. Welcome back to Baldy and The Blonde. I'm Michelle Godin, and we have the glitches all over the place today. I hope you can hear me. We're here every Wednesday at 4. Today we're talking about demo fails. And I start off by just going over the fact that they can't even do jokes right. Poor Colbert. He's so terrible. Kimmel, all those guys are just, terrible. And Gutfeld, who does do politics, but at least he's funny, is just, I think, crushing them in the ratings. So, Tom, are you there?
I am, again, by phone. We haven't been able to fix the technical issue with the setup. So, yeah, I don't know what's up.
Well, we'll figure it out. But anyway, so what the theme of the show today is Democrats failing every which kind of way. Their approval ratings are in the tank. I think they're down to 32% or something. And we started off in the lightest area, which is they can't even do the comedy right anymore. Even Ellen DeGeneres, who is absolutely of the left, her comedy was not of the left. It was just funny. It was kind of like Seinfeld, where it was observational humor, right? So, but they're failing every which way. So, Tom, take it away with your number one Democratic fail.
Well, we have a few articles. These are all recent news stories. The first one is from July 21st. It's about a high-speed train that was planned to run between San Francisco and Los Angeles. And this stuff started, the planning for this stuff started like almost 20 years ago. And they still don't have, there's no stretch that's operational. And
no way.
The article we're going to be going through is it appeared in The Spectator, and the headline is "The $130 billion train that couldn't." California's high-speed rail is the latest blue state infrastructure failure. In other words, they're all over the place, and this is just one example. So, voters approved this in 2008.
Wow!
And the California High-Speed Rail Authority said that the cost would be $33 billion, and it would start running by 2020. But since then, get this: the cost has ballooned to $130 billion.
Oh my gosh!
And nothing's operational.
So it's more than 4 times as much. God, I mean, what is wrong with California? Well, I mean, that is a completely leftist controlled state. It's not true that they don't have a significant libertarian, conservative, leave me alone group of people that live there, but they suffer under the boot of the lefties who really gained a lot of seats because they encouraged the invasion of our country. So because of the unfortunate thing that we assess electoral basically you get your congressional seats based on population, whether it's legal or illegal. So California has a ton of seats and lots of lefty voters. So I imagine at some point even the lefties are going to get mad. Their houses are burning down because, people don't put water in the reservoirs. They don't care about having competent firefighters. They have DEI lunatics. They have Karen Bass as a mayor in Los Angeles. They have Governor Newsom, and they have this boondoggle of a train. So nobody can get on this $130 billion train anywhere, not even from like a mile. There's literally nothing that works.
It doesn't exist. And it gets worse. And by the way, this is a whole different story, but you have Ronald Reagan to thank for the demographic change in California. He changed that state from red or purple to blue forever. That was totally Ronald Reagan.
Reagan?
Yes. Well, yes. We can talk about that next week. I don't have all the details in front of me, but
Okay.
Yeah, that's.
Are you
totally
talking about
changed.
because of amnesty for illegals?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it totally changed the.
Well,
way
he was
that they
snookered
voted.
like Republicans always are. Not anymore.
Well,
But the old BS was, well, just the people that are here, we'll let them stay, and nobody else can come in. Of course, that lasts about a week, and then up starts the invasion again. So,
yeah.
yeah.
So anyway, back to the
Republicans suck.
train story. It really does get worse. They're already like, a dozen years.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. No, they're like
No,
5 years.
they're 5 years
now.
late, but they're,
And they're
5
4
times more money.
Yeah. Oh, but get this now. But now they've reset their goal, and it's to start somewhere by 2033.
No.
Yes. And that is only if by next year they can get another $6.5 billion in funding, and they're not going to get it from private sources.
No,
And
okay.
And it gets even worse, much worse, because apparently the track that's been done so far, it's been the least expensive part and again, nothing is finished and nobody can travel on it, but they have laid some track. And the part that they're working on is in the mostly flat portion. What's coming up is like 30 miles of tunnels, and then 50 miles where they have to go from like 400 feet above sea level to 4,100 feet above sea level.
Oh, no, they can't. Would you ride on that? Built by California, grafting, corruption, DEI, ridiculous contracts awarded to incompetent people who can't get anything done. I would never put my toe on that thing. Mm-mm.
Well, okay, get this. Now, the projected final cost, based on what I just mentioned, that the most expensive part is yet to come, is $250 billion.
Oh, come on, Tom.
And it started out as 33. But there's an awesome punchline to all of this, even better than the last one, which was a pretty good punchline, the $250 billion. The best punchline is that the Department of Transportation recently rescinded $4 billion in federal funds that had already been granted to the project, and Governor Newsom has filed a lawsuit to get it back.
What?
How dare they ask for federal money for this boondoggle? Talk about an embarrassment. But you know what?
But that's typical. That's just typical. Look at New Orleans. I mean, oh my God.
Well, I know. And the thing is with this train, and what you said a while ago was spot on, this thing is not about transportation. It's about getting as many billions of dollars as they can to their cronies and the unions and themselves, the DNC. It has nothing to do with bringing rail service to the people between LA and San Francisco, or they would have freaking done it.
No, it's just political payoffs. Here, hey, Joe Blow Construction Company, you're a Democrat, you work for me. Here's another couple of billion to not lay down 2 miles of track on the flatlands.
Well, the discovery in this lawsuit. Wouldn't you love to see the discovery on the
I would
lawsuit?
love to handle one of those cases. Can you imagine?
On what grounds do they want that $4 billion back?
I mean,
it's never there.
Can you imagine what a great cross-examination you could do on these people?
Oh,
so,
God.
based on having accomplished nothing, there's no tracks are laid that are operable. You want more money? And forget it. It's cheaper to scrap it and sell whatever they've got for scrap metal.
Right.
I mean, really, just forget it. That's insane.
If you were to do that deposition of Newsom, I can already tell you how it would go. We'd start out, and they'd start out with all the usual stuff. We'd go for like 30 minutes. He'd take a break and get on the next plane out.
Absolutely, yeah. They'd be one of those witnesses crying and going home to mommy. We've had a few of those. Welcome back to Baldy and the Blonde. This is Michelle Godin along with Tom Kowitz. We are Baldy and the Blonde. Today we're talking about demo fails, and I don't mean demonstration fails. I mean Democrat fails, lefty fails. They're good at that. And from comedy to trains to kind of everything, they're really not doing well right now, and including, let's see, I thought of this one on the break, Tom, those electric vehicle chargers that Mr. Pete Buttigieg was supposed to install all over the country. He had a budget of $7 billion, And I
Oh,
believe
it's like
he
9
installed,
something?
what, 7 of them?
Yeah, or so,
A
less
billion
than 10.
apiece. I mean, why not have these people running the country? And look,
Yeah.
I despise 90% of the Republicans. They suck. They're weak. They like being pushed around. But we do have some decent people now. Because for everyone that misunderstands the Trump so-called movement, it really isn't about him. It's about. I mean, I'm not saying. Look, he's once in a lifetime sort of politician, whether you like him or not. He has a lot of draw of people that otherwise are not involved in politics. But we are having much more success with rousing people who care about the waste and disgusting criminality of our government. So I think that, the Chargers thing, I don't even know how somebody didn't get arrested for that. I mean, you have $7 billion and you built 7 Chargers. Hello? And now they want to take over grocery stores in this literally communist running for mayor in New York City, and probably going to win because he's cute and his mommy's a big-time Indian film director, so they know how to make him like little Barack. Like, he's very slick, very handsome, knows how to talk, knows how to run a campaign through social media, and people fall for it. But one of his big things, a couple of them we'll talk about, is having government-run grocery stores, because he's such a moron that he's telling people that, well, he's not a moron. He knows this is BS. The government can run cheaper, better grocery stores. Not understanding and just snow jobbing the people that a grocery store operates at like a 2% profit margin. I mean, what? So anyway, I don't know where to go from that. You can either talk about the article we have, or we could play Mandami. Which way you want to go?
Oh no, wait. Let's take because we do have a couple of clips of him, but they don't have anything to do with this.
Oh, we don't have the clip of the okay, so he did come out and advocate for publicly government-owned groceries. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, he's totally a poser. He's was posed for photographs wearing a hoodie while riding the subway.
I saw that.
But it was just very recently. He was in Uganda for 3 days for a 3-day long wedding for the super elite.
For himself, right? Wasn't that his? I don't know.
I don't remember. I don't pay too much.
But he's super rich, and I mean, he's his daddy's literally again a communist professor at Columbia. Mommy's a lefty, Indian film director, and he's pretending like he's a man of the people. Please, okay, whatever.
Yeah, so here's an article out of Kansas City where they have a publicly owned grocery store that they've been running since 2018.
Right.
And the city of Kansas City invested $17 million on the front end. Because
for what? Who knows?
Well, they have a grocery store in an area that didn't have enough grocery stores.
Okay.
So it was like about 10 years ago. They spent $17 million to buy and fix up this shopping center, and then they opened up this grocery store in 2018 called KC Sun Fresh.
Okay.
And last year it lost $885,000, and it's down to 4,000 shoppers a week, down from 14,000 just a couple years ago. And the shelves now are reportedly nearly bare. I've seen some photos.
I saw that.
This one woman went in to do some shopping, and the writers of this article interviewed her. She said, there was one tomato.
One tomato. And what does that remind you of? Immediately, what comes to mind when you hear about
Soviet Union?
Yeah, Soviet Union. When we were growing up, for the youngsters out there, Russia was called the Soviet Union. It was a communist country, and they had no food in the groceries. People had to wait in line. You might wait all day to get a loaf of bread, or you might wait all day and they run out with the person in front of you because it never works.
Right. And these bare shelves, all of that despite the city just had a recent $750,000 cash infusion into that store.
After the original
Oh yeah, the $17 million, that was long ago. They put in tons of money since, and last year lost 885,000. Recently, they threw 750,000 more at it, and the shelves are still bare. And there's problems like crime in the store, outside the store, drug dealing at the store and at the library across the street. Nobody wants to go there.
That's terrible.
So,
but it's so predictable. It's so predictable, and yet this dude who's going to be mayor of New York thinks
this is what he wants.
That's what he wants to do. And if you don't think that's the goal of communism, is they're rich, you're poor, they're not communist. Communism's for you. For them, it's like the life of a wealthy movie star. I mean, Fidel Castro, for example. What did you tell me he was worth?
Yeah, $900 million.
Gee, and his brother Raul?
$100 million.
There you go.
And we'll have a story about that coming up into for the next segment. But I wanted to read you a quote by the 68-year-old woman who's been a customer since the store opened. It's a short one. She says, "This is pathetic. Every neighborhood deserves a good grocery store. This is the nearest store for 6 neighborhoods, and this is what we've got." Now, what's interesting, she didn't say 6 blocks. She said 6 neighborhoods, and there's nothing, because you can bet everybody's either pulled out or just never built there in the first place because of conditions. But, when she says every neighborhood deserves a good grocery store, that's just not true.
Nope.
You don't just deserve it. Who's going to put it there? You don't deserve it.
Right. Open it yourself. Attract some business. Businesses don't want to open in a crime-filled neighborhood, and certainly businesses aren't going to compete against some thing that the government is funding to the tune of millions of dollars, and yet they're still failing because the market works.
Yeah, well, exactly. Is if you expect a place to go in there and make profit, despite the fact that they're going to get ripped off blind, because that's what these blue cities allow now. Of course they're not going to open up there.
Right.
And then, so that leaves, there's this vacuum. And so the city so magnanimously says, well, we'll step in $17 million, and then we'll lose anywhere from $500,000 to $900,000 a year doing it and still have bare shelves. The solution, obviously, is not to expect a private company to come in and not to expect a public solution. It's you either got to go without a store or you got to find a way to clean up your neighborhood.
That's it. There's
no other way.
The Russians, when Russia was the Soviet Union, same with China too, they've starved millions. I mean, like 60 million people in China starved. And I forget how much?
Well, I don't know, but it's dozens of
I think it was 60 or something just from starvation in China, and 20-something million from what Stalin did. And what they did was they killed all the people that knew what to do, how to farm. And then they had I don't remember. They called it the 5-year plan. They always have, 5-year, 10-year plans. Basically, these people are self-aggrandizing. They pretend they're for the people. And what really happens is the people starve while they live high on the hog. So, and he wants to abolish. Should I play that one? Mr. Mandani, the future mayor of New York, who wants to abolish private property. Play it. Yeah, let's hear that again.
If there was any system that could guarantee each person housing, whether you call it the abolition of private property or you call it, just a statewide housing guarantee, it is preferable to what is going on right now.
Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
Okay, so you know what, though? This is happening in real time right now.
Right now.
In South Africa, when they confiscated farms from the privileged white farmers who knew how to farm.
Oh, you know what? You're totally right. This is happening right now. You're right.
Right now. And then they're giving the farms over to people who don't know how to farm. And guess what? There's food shortages.
And guess what? They're killing the farmers, too. They're killing the farmers. Yeah. And that was that guy, the South African president that came to the White House. And Trump's like, I don't, he pointed out the murder of so many of the farmers, and he's like, that's not true. And he goes, well, turn off the lights, we're going to watch a movie, and played all the highlights of all those Dutch farmers from South Africa being killed. So it's always the same thing with these people, and yet people fall for it every time. Look at New York City, could not be more on a downslide than they are, and they're going to go for more. I mean,
Yeah, it's
incredible.
That generation in between, and that generation forgets, and then these monsters come after the new generation.
That's it.
They've got all the solutions, and they have nothing but problems. They have no solutions. They have death and destruction.
You want to talk a little bit about Fidel Castro's grandson, because chip off the old block. We got a minute, so just give us a little highlight about the Castro wealth, because no one in that country has a car or has anything. They don't have toilet paper. They use catalogs and magazines for toilet paper. They don't have medicine. Everybody I know that ran away from Cuba, when they send someone in their family to visit the poor bastards that didn't get out, pardon my French, that's what they do. They take a suitcase full of supplies and no clothes for themselves. Because communism works well, yes.
Oh yeah. Well, there is an interesting article. We don't have time to go into it.
All right, we'll go into it after the break.
Yeah.
So basically, Tom and I are trying to get our technical act together so that we can do more long-form interviews and podcasts, etc. But we're having a little trouble today. Hopefully, it sounds okay on your end. We are Baldy and the Blonde. We're here every Wednesday at 4. You can catch our shows anytime on baldyandtheblonde.com. Welcome back to Baldy and the Blonde. I'm Michelle Godin with Tom Coates here every Wednesday at 4. Trying to work out some little glitches on our technical end, but I hear it sounds okay from some listeners that have reached out to me. So thank you for the feedback. But it will be better next week. And we are today talking about failed Democrats, failed lefties, the usual, and just kind of going over some news stories that you may not have heard of because they're not as big of stories as what's currently dominating the news. They're not funny. They can't run a grocery store. They want to defund the police, and they are a disaster. Right, Tom?
Yes, and they're losing scores of billions of dollars in California on a train that doesn't do anything.
Yeah, that's our money, too.
We covered that early on.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. So we were talking about Castro and how in communism it's always the same way. The people suffer. The people at the top who pretend they're your Lord and Savior, King Kami, live like kings while the people, scrape and scrap for morsels of food and toilet paper. And certainly forget about aspirin and things like that. Forget it.
Yeah. Okay, but speaking of all that, before we continue with that, I just wanted to take a little detour.
Sure.
To say this. So I was curious. So I have a pretty good AI that I subscribe to. Okay, so I asked it, I said, be objective here and consider everything from travel to communication to medicine, clean air, water, food, everything. I said, consider everything. Would you rather be John Rockefeller in the year 1900 or a contemporary 25-year-old woman with only a high school education who makes $18 an hour? And it came back with absolutely, it's not even close. I'd rather be the contemporary 25-year-old who makes $18 an hour.
Wow.
For the reason
that's interesting.
Look at the world today. And then I even asked it, I said, considering all that same stuff, would you rather be the world's richest person in 1910 or that contemporary 25-year-old? And it said that 25-year-old. And then it said, why? And I boosted it up all the way up to the year 2024. And it said it would rather be the contemporary 25-year-old, but for different reasons. But because they had more life ahead of her, more potential. Because when the youth complain about how crappy they have it, they forget they can travel anywhere. They have antibiotics. They have clean food, Go back 100 years.
That's right.
200 years.
People died of, it's true because as messed up as the Democrats are, in general, life is so much better now. Tom and I both like this guy, Tom Woods, a lot, and he talks about that a lot, that, the people, this is the first time people have had enough to eat, like in the last 100 years, and that they don't die of like you maybe scratched your shoulder on a rusty nail in your barn and you die because they didn't have penicillin, they didn't have antibiotics, and so that's a cool thing, Tom. What else did they say? That's interesting.
Well, basically, I found it fascinating that it said that that it would rather be, if it took human form, a 25-year-old contemporary making $18 an hour, or the world's richest person in 2024, because you just have more life and potential. There's way more to consider. I mean, you take an 18-year-old who complains nonstop, like so many of them do, especially on the left.
Right.
Everything's horrible, right? Everything's horrible for them.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
even
it's
though everything's
awful.
awesome for them. And you ask them if they want to trade places with a 90-year-old billionaire, they'd say you're crazy. Now they'll admit it, right? Right. So there's a lot to consider. And so when I asked this AI to consider everything objectively, and if you had to take human form, which would you rather be? I figured when I got it to the 2020s, it would say, well, okay, now I'll take the world's richest person. It didn't. It always took the younger person.
Yes, because the hope of the future,
life,
I guess, is what it is, you know?
Yes, there's so much potential. And with the technology that we have,
yes,
the previous generations didn't have. Even just, I was born in 1960. And so, I mean, we didn't have a microwave until I was in high school, well into high school.
Right, no color TV.
But we had it good.
No computers.
Now,
yeah,
they have the world at their fingertips with all this technology. They can get the temperature to exactly what they want. They can be on the other side of the world within a few hours.
It's true.
For John Rockefeller, it would take him, I don't know, a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So
right, and maybe you'd be on the Titanic. Woo! Okay, not him, but yeah.
But all the young ones, especially the left, they just, men are horrible, white people are horrible. Really?
Yeah, it's so stupid.
Life is awesome if you let it be.
It is. That's really true. And I guess, we talk a lot about the left and how, but we haven't put it in this context, and I like it, that it's so negative and so, anti-life, including, instead of celebrating the birth of children, all they can talk about is killing them. And there's so much beauty and optimism and hope for the future that I think concentrates on people that, I hate to call them Republicans because it's just not the right. It's people who are supporters of individual liberty versus collectivist. And the collectivists are always telling you what to do and how awful everything is, and everything is driven by division politics, right? Oh, poor you, you have it really bad, but not as bad as this group who's got it even worse, and that's just not what you find on the other side.
Well, so we were talking about failures of the left today was the big theme, and they failed to see goodness and beauty and the advantages they have because they are so blinded by white men in particular are horrible. Men in general are horrible. White people in general are horrible. Why don't you just take that off and look at what you have? You have an incredible world. Would you really want to trade places with the world's richest man in, say, 1900? Would you? Or will you finally admit that you have it awesome, even though you're young and make $18 an hour? Because you do have it awesome. But
the future... their future, the left's future, which is not looking good, thank goodness, depends on people feeling pessimistic, desperate, upset, depressed.
Their future does depend on that. Yeah.
You without division, anger, hatred, and identity politics, they have no future. And the more people feel good about their future, the less the Democrats can get ahead. And so I think that is a really, I like that you brought that up. It's very, very true. And maybe that, is why so many young people are aligning now with the liberty side of life as opposed to the, I will sign up with the Democrats and they will tell me what to do from cradle to grave.
Yeah, right. Good luck with that. Oh, and and all this reminds me, I forgot about it till just now. Louis C.K. has a real funny bit that he calls everything is awesome, but everyone is miserable.
That's great.
And he hits on all this stuff. It's like you have all of this technology at your fingertips, and yet you're a whiny
crybabies,
miserable.
Well, we have 34 seconds. Shall we just whine and cry our way out of the show?
No,
the theme song of the left.
All right, I'm going to sign off, and you can close it out.
No, that's okay. We're Baldy and The Blonde. We're here every Wednesday at 4. You can check out our shows at baldyandtheblonde.com, where there are no commercials. You can listen to us live every week, Wednesdays at 4. And we are going to be doing longer form podcasts as soon as we get our technology right. Look forward to seeing you next week. BaldyandTheBlonde.com.